I was an emotional mess. I'm just crying. Like, this is so special. And, it was surreal being in this place where, Chris and I got married. We were 21. We were babies. And we got married and we drove a U-Haul from LA to New York. Like, we did the...
21 years old is the time to do that in your life.
Yeah. And I'm so glad I did it. I have no regrets about it. What's funny is we don't have a lot of memories from that time. I think because we were in this focused hustle and we were just surviving day to day financially.
Who gave me a podcast? This is Jeff Allen. Welcome to my podcast.
Hey, everybody, this is Jeff Allen, and welcome to Who Gave Jeff Allen a Podcast. Still looking. There's 6 billion of you. We'll find you. But until then, we're still on the air. How do you like the new studio? This is the first show in the new studio. Actually, it's the same studio. We just redesigned it. But you don't know that. But I did tell you that. What else is going on? We're coming up at the end of the year. This is Christmas time when we're taping this, and a lot of stuff going on in 2026 that we'll share later going forward. But you can go to my website, jeffallencomedy.com, for all the tour dates. We are packed, certainly January, February with my Love and Laughter tour. We're just going to go out and celebrate love, and we're actually going to make fun of it. So it's probably not for newlyweds. If you've been married long enough to know that the veneer has washed off your marriage, and the reality has settled in. You're going to love that tour because I'm going to have some fun with it. Got a message for the men. So ladies, bring your men out. The message will be remembering the bride of your youth. Very important thing for people to do as marriage goes on. Sometimes we tend to allow our eyes to wander, and that's not a good thing. You need to focus on the wife of your youth and let her be enough. That is scripture. So anyway, we got a guest today. I've been looking forward to this. Kelsey Cooke I'm just going to read the bio because I just got it in my hands. Normally I try to memorize these things, but so make it look like it's spontaneous. That's something that everybody knows just off the top of their head. Kelsey, you grew up acting professionally in Hollywood, so God bless her. She's finally got out of that cesspool, and she's
still dealing with the trauma.
Yeah, still dealing with that. Signed with your first agent at the age of 7. Yes, she earned her bachelor's degree in theater arts from Vanguard University and pursued a Broadway and TV film career in New York upon graduating. You worked on shows like Pan Am with ABC, that's ABC, Royal Pains, USA. Her work eventually brought her back to Hollywood, where she trained in improv at the Groundlings, where I think you met your husband.
I sure did.
You did, yes, you did. We had him on earlier, Chris Guerra.
Yeah, close enough.
Yeah, close enough. Second City. Oh, that's right. I was in Chicago. I used to work. Let me get through this before we chat. And IO West. What is IO West?
That is no longer. It was in Hollywood, and it was one of my favorite places to train, but they are no more. Just like many small theaters in LA, unfortunately.
Oh, all right. She worked on projects like Life Partners, Tribeca, and Sundance Film Festival. Very big things. Black November with Vivica Fox. Bad Teacher. I watched some of that stuff. Maybe I saw you.
The show.
And the Veronica Mars movie in 2020. She co-founded This Is Hard to Read Productions, and it is an award-winning producer, writer, and actor on the award-winning feature comedy Reopening. Up next, Kelsey directed the feature comedy Back to Bridgewood, which is coming soon. She is now based in Nashville, where the sane people live. And I added that, by the way. That's not on her. And where she and her husband, Chris Guerra, founded a new improv and sketch comedy school. Welcome, Kelsey Cooke.
This is a big one.
Yeah, I didn't realize it only looks like 6 lines, but it was a big one. It's funny. I had on my website like a novel. I didn't do it. I have people, so they put this thing on there. And normally they take one or two things out and
Yeah.
then they'd introduce you. There's Jeff
Right.
Allen. He did this,
Yeah,
and they
yeah.
bring you up. This guy reads the entire
Like 10
novel.
minutes.
I'm standing backstage. It was 3 minutes,
Wow.
4 minutes of just reading.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
You're
I
like, you didn't
walked
put that
out.
into ChatGPT and said summarize, shorten.
Well, there was no chat back then. We have.
that's true.
I have since written my own intro.
Yes.
It's like, here's
Oh,
Jeff
very
Allen. That's it. That's
Great.
pretty much
Here's Jeff
it.
Allen.
Well, anyway, you've been acting since you were a child. You signed at 7 years old.
Yes.
So let me ask you this, because when I, as coming up,
Yeah.
the audition process for me was terrifying.
Oh, it's awful.
To this day, I
Yeah.
blank, I draw, and it's my material. I wrote it. It's not like I'm reading somebody else's material.
Yeah, great.
So at 7, are you
Yeah.
just too young to be nervous about this stuff?
Yes.
Or were you nervous? Or
It was. I think I was too young to be nervous. And I think that helps a lot of kids. I did everything I could to keep my kids away from the industry, but my 11-year-old just loves it. And I look at her, and, it's hard to remember way back then, but I don't remember having the same audition hangups or, the same self-doubt that I had. There was like just nothing to doubt. It was like, this is fun. This is what I want to do. And I'm excited to just get in front of people and do the thing that I love. And my daughter has the same mental place. It's when she is excited, she thinks about the project. If I want to do the project, well, of course I want to do the audition. So it's just a different process for kids.
Yeah. Now, were your parents in the industry?
They were. My dad is Phil Cooke, and he is he's in the media. His company slogan is helping Christians not suck at the media. And he's like, I'll have a career for life.
Father years ago.
You may have. You should be on his podcast. He has a great podcast too, and he just helps media companies and really any Christians in the media do better. And he's written several books about that. So him and my mom, who work together, they tour all around the world helping production companies, Christian production companies. They have a nonprofit called the Influence Lab, and they travel all over helping media ministries do better.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I first became a believer back in the 90s, somebody handed me Bob Briner's book called Roaring Lambs.
Okay.
And it was about the media. Basically,
Yeah.
Christians complain
Right.
about their place in the culture.
Yeah.
Well, produce better product.
Yeah. Well, I used to
And
say
your
that
place will improve.
Yes. And my dad was one of the only, or maybe the only, he was known as the only producer in Hollywood with a PhD in theology. So MSNBC, The Today Show, they'd all call him up whenever Christians got mad about something like the Noah movie or some, Hollywood tried to make a
Where they
Christian
put-
movie
where they
and
put
everybody got mad about it.
Porpoises in
Yeah.
the Noah movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
You're
remember
like,
that.
Now, why are Christians mad about this?
Yeah.
My dad would be there to help soften the blow a little bit.
Oh,
yeah.
okay. Oh, that's cool. That's great.
Yeah.
And now your daughter said your daughter's interested. My kids wanted
Yes.
nothing to do with what I do.
Yeah.
Nothing.
We were
So,
hoping for that.
Yeah, you were hoping for that. Yeah.
But no, I mean, listen, I believe in just helping advocate for your kids and their talents. If you see that they're talented, if they're not, help them find what they are talented in. But I want to help hone that in and support that if that's something that she loves. It's what I love. So, it's not the easiest career. I think that's what I mean by that.
But I think, it's interesting. At some point, success comes, maybe, but if it's out of love, I think there comes a point maybe where you have to look at your child and go, look, living in my basement for the next 20 years is not an option. You have to
Yeah.
at some point realize
Let's make a plan for this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That maybe this isn't the path that was meant for you.
Yeah.
But it has to be edifying, though, that they look at you
Exactly.
guys. See, I think my kids looked at what I did
Yeah.
and how much I was away from my family and the effect that it had on them.
Yeah.
Because it's now coming out at 42 years old. My son is starting to tell us the damage that we did.
Right. I know you don't find out till later. That's what I'm worried about.
Yeah,
I'm constantly thinking, what is my daughter, what's she going to say about us? Me and Chris talk about this all the time. What is she going to say?
Yeah. I used to
20
say
years
that.
from now.
Well, I used to say
that really damaged me. I'm like, oh, shoot.
Yeah, because they wanted Reeboks and I got them Nikes, and I thought
that was going to be the thing.
Therapy session,
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
But they love theater, and like we just took them to New York City last week for the first time. Chris and I lived there for 7 years doing Broadway, and so we took them to their first Broadway show. We took them to The Lion King, and we got them the aisle seat because all the animals come down the aisle, all the actors. And my daughter leans over halfway in and goes, "Mom, I want to be on Broadway." And I'm like, I had a feeling you might say that.
Oh, wow.
And she's doing youth theater, and she just caught the bug. And when you catch it, you can see when they catch it. This is serious.
Does it bring you back, though?
I was an emotional mess. I'm just crying. Like, this is so special. And, it was surreal being in this place where, Chris and I got married. We were 21. We were babies. And we got married, and we drove a U-Haul from LA to New York. Like, we did the
21 years old is the time to do that in your life.
Yeah. And I'm so glad I did it. I have no regrets about it. What's funny is we don't have a lot of memories from that time. I think because we were in this focused hustle and we were just surviving day to day financially.
Well, the peyote doesn't help with the memory.
Yeah, that's true.
Chewing mushrooms all the way across Iowa.
All day long. So we don't, it's funny, we look back and we're like, well, and we didn't have iPhones. We didn't have Instagram. So I'm like, where are all of our photos? We have, I think, one dedicated album to all of our 7 years in New York. And we just don't have a lot. We just didn't have a lot of time to record memories. We were surviving out there. But it was such a great experience and really shaped our work ethic.
That has to be the coolest thing. If that's what your dream is, to wind up in Manhattan.
Yeah. It toughened us up.
Doing
that's for sure.
Absolutely.
When
I was 50, I just woke up one day and I told Tammy, my wife, I said, I'm going to New York to take acting classes. She goes, why? I go, I don't know. I've always wanted to do it.
Yeah.
Never had the time or the money or the inclination. But at 50, I know it's not midlife. I'm not going to live to be 100.
No. Well, it's
not with my lifestyle.
So inspirational. Well, I don't want to ever feel like there's not enough time in my life to start something new. We were kind of just talking about this earlier, and I saw this post yesterday about how millennials in particular are just all having to, do what their parents said we wouldn't have to do. Like our parents, we grew up with, go to college, you'll get a secure job if you get your degree, and you'll buy a house and have kids and all these things. And we're all like, well, shoot, we are a mess now. We've survived all these major life events and, world events. And now we're all scrambling to switch and pivot and find different jobs or do different things. A lot of people are changing their careers, and there's just a lot of change in the industry. Even if we just take the entertainment industry, people are pivoting and the way that things are changing. You're not just an actor anymore. You're not just one thing. So,
well, that's what we were talking a little bit off air about was, I started in the late 70s. And if you wanted to be successful as a comedian, you did the Tonight Show, and then Letterman came along, or you did one of the network shows. Then HBO was just starting with their comedy specials. Those were huge. If you could land one of those, then Showtime came along. But there were literally maybe 8 outlets, national outlets that exposed you to the country. Now, granted, there were a lot of eyeballs on those particular things, which is why it was good for your career. But the internet now
changed everything.
Let me just say, I did a pilot in 2000 for a studio, and realized after it was all done, I got played by all the suits huge creatively. So I felt that if anything came along, the opportunity ever came along again, I would try to control the creative side of it the best I can. Yeah. Well, today you can.
Yes.
You can. Talk a little bit about, you have an indie film.
Yeah.
But you guys were able to raise the money, shoot it, produce it.
I mean, it wasn't much. Listen, I think you got to start small when you are working in independent film. For us, we're just two actors. Like, I had an agent at 7. I did what everybody told me to do. I got my headshots when they told me to. I had an agent. I went to the audition, and then the pandemic, I think, was a giant shift for the industry, especially internet was a shift. And then the pandemic was a shift. Everything went online. The iPhone, the creation of the iPhone was a shift. The 4K on your iPhone was a shift. There are all these technology milestones that happened that allowed us to A, take more control over our careers, and B, stop waiting around to be discovered, which will likely never happen if you wait around. And I think it was Meryl Streep that said, there was an interview that said, do you think there are other Meryl Streeps out there? And she said, oh yeah, there's dozens, but they'll never be discovered, because there's just too many actors out there. It's too hard to break in. And that was a long time ago. But now you can help yourself be discovered. You can make your own way with independent film. It's not easy, that's for sure. It is not easy at all. And I've learned so many lessons, but we created this first film out of the pandemic. We're sitting around and we just said, hey, we're not doing anything. Let's make a movie. Let's finally do the thing we've been wanting to do and kind of take charge of our careers a little bit more, get on the other side of the creative. So we just kind of wrote an outline. It was fully improvised, which helped. And we went all the way to Cannes Film Festival with it. And then we ended up selling it to Blaze and as their flagship streaming film. And now we're like, how do we now do the next thing? What's the next step up from there, And we moved to Nashville in the middle of that. Or after that process. So we're now in the throes of pre-production for our second film, which we start production on in January. And completely on our own. It's so hard, but this is the first time that we went after investors. It's a very small amount. Like, this budget is $150,000, which is, I had one investor go, can you make a movie for $150,000?
Well, we just did. My 7 grandmas was $150,000.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, listen, you've got to keep margins low in this world so that you can, in this independent film world, so that you can sell it on the other side and get your money back. Otherwise, it's so hard. It's like everybody has to be paid on the front end because everybody's, we're all needing money on the front end to do our jobs. But then it's a very delicate balance with distribution because distribution is a whole nother talk show, But the point is, it gives us a little bit of a way to break in. And to get stories told that we're passionate about and not have to be beholden to big studios.
Well, that's, again, I go back to, the project we're working on, which will be announcing in 2026. The process with the first time around, I sat with a guy, we talked, he wrote a script, and that was it.
Yeah.
There were no rewrites. In the middle of shooting, I would go to him and go, look, I have a joke in my show. This might work. They'd pat my hand.
Yeah.
And they'd go, that's great. And they would make a little pretend note.
Yeah.
And nothing got in.
Okay.
And when it was all over, I realized, you know what? These guys just took a check. That's all they did. They got paid. I got paid.
Right.
And that was it. They had no skin in the game.
Yeah.
But when you're the storyteller and you're the writer and the creator, beyond the fact that there's some pride there.
Yeah.
You want to produce something. Well, it isn't about the money. It really isn't.
No.
So this time around, initially it was really great when I sat with the guy and we did it right. And I read the script and I went, based on my book, I don't recognize a person in this script.
Yeah.
He goes, great, this is how it works. Uh-huh. And to hear that, it was like, great. So then the next rewrite came, and then the next rewrite, there were like 8 or 9 or 10 rewrites to this thing.
Yeah.
So if you're the creator, the producer, the director, do you you trust Chris enough?
Yeah, so Chris and I are writing partners. We decided, we had somebody reach out from college who now has a giant production company in Orange County, California. He said, hey, listen, I'll bring all my stuff out in a Sprinter van. If you write a script, let's just do it. And we're like, okay, I don't know if he knew we were going to take him seriously or not, but we did. And so we showed up and said, hey, here's our script, like a couple months later. And he's like, great. And then I just had to fully produce this thing from the ground up and get all the ducks in a row. But yeah, we work really well together as writers. And
how much freedom do you give the actors to improvise?
That's the part I love, because I don't think as an actor I got to experience enough of that. I understand from a writer's point of view why it's their precious baby, the script, right? But to a degree, because of our improv training, I think we love the freedom of getting on set. And I've heard some really great directors say, which is true, that, at the end of the day, when you get on set, you hired an actor to do a job. Like, you've got to hand it over to them and trust that artistry in their hands. Same with the director, same with all these people that, like, you're hiring them to do a job. Trust them to do it well. And if there's a line or something that you want to play with, you should play. I mean, we don't have all day. Listen, we're all under the gun here with hours on set, but I am so excited, and we talk about this in the writing. Well, hey, if we feel like this line or this scene, we just want to play here. I told, when we were interviewing directors, which I'm really excited to announce this week, we said, we really want you to play with actors. I think that's really, really important, because I think all the best moments, especially when it comes to comedy, especially,
Right.
Come from just stuff that happens on set, off the cuff, just in the moment, and you hire somebody for a reason. And so, yeah.
Yeah. Now, how much? Now, you're familiar with obviously Christopher Guest and the stuff they did. And now with what happened with Rob Reiner on the Spinal Tap, we watched it last night again. And it's so funny. If I told my wife, because she doesn't get it, she doesn't like it, and I go, if I'd have known that, I'd have never married you.
That would have been a prerequisite.
Are you kidding me? It was. And how much of that, do you have any insight on that? How much of that was ad-libbed?
Yes, we have spoken to several actors who were in several of his movies who said, because when we were in prep to do our fully improvised film, we reached out to some of them from the Groundlings and said, how did this work on set? How did he run the set? How did Christopher Guest run the set? And they said that he just did that. He just said, hey, listen, this is a skeleton. We got to get from point A to point B, but we want to play. And he would just say, do that again. Say something else. Give me a different version. And it was just like that. And so we tried to do the same. We just got this kind of outline that we had. And now the second script is fully scripted, because what we did learn was that in Hollywood you have to have a script. Unfortunately, the script has to be there,
especially if you're going to investors.
Yeah. Nobody really believes that you can do a fully
improvised film. You're not going to sit down with someone and write a check for $100,000 and go, we're just going to wing it.
Yeah, we're just going to wing it. It'll be great.
Us.
Just trust me.
Trust me.
Maybe eventually. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was really fun to kind of get that insider, because then you look back and you watch it again after having that information and you're like, oh, that had to have been an improvised line. It's fun to guess, even on The Office.
Well, that's the way I even look at the movie Pulp Fiction.
Yeah.
You wonder how much Tarantino let him play.
Yeah.
Because nobody writes that much profanity.
Right. I know.
On a piece of paper.
It's scripted.
So I would wonder, because acting to me is a late in life. It's something that I've wanted to do. That's one of the reasons why I brought up with the auditioning process. I was so afraid to tell anybody that I wanted to get in the theater and act. I was a jock, and, and we mocked all the theater
different time,
kids,
Yeah.
So it was this secret I held, and the fear of it just carried over.
Yeah.
Until I got so old, I just didn't care anymore.
Didn't care anymore.
I have a fear of improv. I like scripts.
Yeah.
But once I get comfortable within the scene, and I think something
could work
better for me.
Well, and as I wear many hats, but as like a writer director, I want my actor, I want it to sound natural out of their mouth. If I make you say something a certain way, that's not going to. It's going to show that you're uncomfortable. The camera does not lie, and in something as intimate as film and television shots, you can just tell when a line is not right. And then that's when you wonder as a viewer, as a consumer, hey, was that bad writing, or are they just not acting well? Like what is, and sometimes it just is a communication thing.
Yeah, for the movie we did, the Seven Grandmas, one of the scenes at the end was a personal testimony. And when I read it, I called the director at 11 o'clock at night and said, I can't do it the way it's written. I just can't. And how strict are we, or, how much room do I have? And he said, do it the way you want to do it. We'll film it. We'll film it the way it's written. We'll film it the way you do it. We'll get it all down. And it was interesting because the Christian testimonies can be pretty cliche.
Cheesy.
Yeah. And I did a couple takes that I know were way over the top.
Yeah.
I mean, lots of slobbery tears, and what I'm thinking. So now you're at the hands of the editor.
Right.
I know. There's like 8 different shots.
It can be terrifying.
Scenes. Yeah. And I'm sitting there. I was sitting at home telling my wife, I'm going, gosh, I hope they don't take the cheesy thing that I did, and blubber. So the actor has no control over the editing.
I know. And I've been there too. It's tough. It's like, I know this one was better. I hope they choose the right one. I mean, that's when the trust of the team comes into play, man. That's just something that now, as executive producer, I'm going and hiring everybody I want to make sure my vision for this is clearly stated across all departments. Let's all understand that this is this vision and we're all on the same page and working together, so then I can trust it when it goes to the
So as a director, you get to sit in
block.
on the editing, right?
I will, yeah. Although I'm not directing this one. So Chris and I are leads in this one, and we normally would just direct it ourselves, but it's such a heavy thing. It's just like so much dialogue. We just have so much to focus on, and because we're producing the film ourselves and doing all the jobs like you do in independent film, I wanted to hand this vision off to someone that I trusted, and so depending on whether or not this airs before or after the Deadline article coming out, I can say that it's Eric Peterson, and he was on a show a while ago called Kevin Can F Himself. And that was a really interesting genre. It was kind of a multicam comedy meets drama. And the lead of it was Alexis, the sister role in Schitt's Creek. She had this great role in it where she would go from this comedic to drama, and it was really fascinating. He was on Kirsty, he was on so many shows, and he just has a great mind for comedy, but he's a theater kid at heart, which I really appreciated, and we just love his work, and so we're really excited to bring him on and kind of spearhead and steer the ship into the right direction with this.
That's a lot of trust.
It is.
Because it's your baby.
I know, it is, but it's also knowing, I think that's where people get hung up, and they can go. I think what kills a lot of indie productions is trying to control it all. At the end of the day, I want it to be really good, and I want it to sell, and I want it to be something that launches us into something better. Everything is a step in the ladder to the next big thing. And so I think focusing on that and not holding this like it is my baby, like my precious,
Right.
It can't be, because listen, I'm going to go write something better than this movie. I will. That's my thought. Like, this is not the end all be all. This is not the last project or even the best project that I'm going to do. I know that, my faith plays a lot into that. I'm not necessarily in the faith-based world like my dad is, but I feel like God has really called me to be a light there and to change the way that we run our sets, and that we run film, that we do film.
We'll talk about that a little bit. Growing up in Hollywood, your father was well-known, steeped into the faith. So it's not like you could be a closeted Christian.
No, I know. I did a pretty good job. I did a pretty good job of being a closeted Christian, because that was the culture. And unfortunately, my husband Chris and I, we both talk about it all the time. Like, we have regrets about that. I think we could have done better. I think we could have been a bigger voice. But I also know that our MO and the feedback we got all the time on and off set was, hey, there's something about you. You have so much joy and so much light. Like, what people would stop us and be like, what is it about you? And then I would be like, it's Jesus. Like, I love Jesus.
Yeah.
Duh. You know, but it's like people just don't know. And then people would be like, wait, you love Jesus and you go to the bar with me? You love Jesus, but we go out at night, you know, like, yeah, I love you. I can love you and Jesus, you know, and just sharing that was on such a more intimate level than just, you know, I don't know. I feel like, yes, we could have done a better job of being loud with our faith.
Well,
but
it's
I also
interesting
feel
you
like,
say that. Yeah, coming out of Chicago, you know, when I became a believer, you know, I was 40 years old. So I ran into guys that I've known for 20 years at that point, and it turns out they were believers. And then it all started making sense to me. They were always kind, considerate, really never had a harsh word to say about. And that doesn't mean, because I've met some Christians who are very gossipy and slanderish, but these guys weren't. They were different. And it was one of those things. I never bothered to ask them why they were so kind, you know. But it stood out. It was this, you know, the light and
I think
all the cynicism
that can make a bigger impact, is that just like showing your faith through your actions and the way that you live and your lifestyle, and showing people how, you know, it's showing people God's love just through what you do, what He's called you to do.
How does that affect your writing when you and Chris sit down and you come up with a really funny, inappropriate?
Oh, yeah. And we do, trust me.
Of course, I know you do, because we all do. That's why I have Carolyn.
That's good. Well, I don't know if
she spews it out. She doesn't care.
Yeah, exactly. Who edits who? I'm not really sure.
Yeah, right.
But
Carolyn, I can't do this, but you can.
Exactly. I think knowing your audience for sure, like, who's this going to? Can we get away with something like this? Can we? And it's also just like, is this redeemable? Is this character, are they brash and, you know, worldly, and that's just how it ends, and there's no hope? Like, is there hope? Is there joy?
Let's talk about that, because my wife and I, when we watch shows, we'll get 3 or 4 episodes in, and she will pause it in the middle of an episode and say, if I don't see anything redeeming in the next half hour, we're done with this show.
Yes.
And there's so many out there that just stay. There is no.
I know.
Positive light. You know, there has to be something.
You leave feeling worse about yourself than when you started the thing.
You know, there's some kind of hope in humanity, some kind of, you know, or even, you know, the antagonist.
Listen, our first film was about COVID. We did a comedy about a theater trying to reopen during COVID, and it was silly and it was dumb, but, you know, we really modeled it after, really, The Office was a huge, I think they're the best example, which is you can be as dumb or inappropriate or silly or, you know, whatever as you want. But at the end of the day, have you left your audience? There's always a nugget of hope at the end, or a lesson learned that we go, I'm better now because of this crazy day or whatever happened.
And that's what we've been talking about, the project based on my book. The first season is going to be pretty dark.
Yeah.
And the lead character who's playing me.
It has to be true to your story.
But that's it. And the lead character who's playing me, I said to the writers and the producers, I said, they have to root for him.
Yeah.
He can't just be a jerk all the time.
I know.
There has to be some moment in there
Chris
where they
says,
go.
I'm really good at playing likable a-holes. How do you make them likable?
And he falls and becomes a jerk again. You go, I hate this guy.
Yeah.
You know?
Because then you just want to stop watching. It gets exhausting watching somebody who is just a jerk and they don't stop being a jerk. And you're like, well, I'm exhausted. I don't want to watch this anymore. I don't feel good about this. You know?
Not at all. So there has to be even a fallen, broken mess. Yeah. Is somebody you want to root for.
It's a factor of relatability. If we as humans, as writers, can appeal to the human part of life that is relatable, I think that's what we see each other in the characters of each of the people in the office. We see each other or people we know in the characters who are most memorable. And so as a writer, I'm constantly trying to appeal to the human soul, you know, that like he might be a jerk, but gosh, he's been up against a lot, or oh gosh, I really feel that because I struggle with that too. How do we help? I think the best movies are ones where we relate to the heart of the character.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And you get drawn into one of our favorite shows was The Bear.
Oh yeah.
On
Yeah.
Hulu.
Yeah.
And
yes, Chef.
that was one I was wondering how much was, there was a, did you watch the show?
Yes. And
did you
we
see
were
the
confused.
scene with Jamie Lee Curtis at Christmas?
Oh yeah, Christmas.
One of the greatest scenes I've ever seen on television.
Great.
And how much of that do you think was actually scripted? Or did they just
like
let the
5%? I'm sure. It was such a great scene, but we were confused when we started watching it because it was categorized under comedy.
I know.
And I'm looking at it going, when is it going to get funny?
Well, see, that's kind of what we're modeling our show,
right?
Is The Bear. That was one of the things in the pitch pack was think of The Bear. Mm-hmm. And I like the word dramedy. Yeah. You know, they're going to come up for air at some point, but kind of in a dark way. Yeah. I mean, you know, through the folly.
And that's what it is, like dark comedy. Okay, I can get that. I get that.
Through the folly of the characters.
So funny.
You know.
But
I remember the Rockford Files. You're probably too young to remember the Rockford Files with James Garner.
I remember it, but I don't think I watched it.
The show always would begin. He lived in a trailer on a beach or something. He was a private detective. There'd be a knock on his door, and he'd open it, and a fist would fly through him in the face, you know. And it would always track back to one of his friends. Yeah. Always, it caused him the problem. I mean, but that's how the show would begin.
Great.
You know,
I love a shock factor opening. That's what works for social media now, which has also changed so much. And I was going to talk to you about the new rise in vertical content.
Oh,
and this whole thing.
What is? First of all, explain that.
Okay, so. Well, it's all started with social media and YouTube and the fact that people have started watching YouTube more as a network than normal networks, like the major networks out there, NBC, ABC, all those things. And so they realize we're now as a society more watching our phones. We're watching series and movies on our phones more than anything else. So in the last maybe 6 months to a year, they're going, oh, maybe we should just create movies and television specific to the phone, people watching it on the phone. And so there are different now whole streaming networks. There are new networks being formed for vertical content, up and down, just watching it on your phone. Wow. Which is interesting. So Chris and I decided to do a pilot, and we shot it a couple of weeks ago. It's called Christian Chicken. And it is going to be shot. We just shot a pilot episode to see if it would work. And we actually shot it both ways. So we actually shot it on an iPhone. Speaking of not waiting around and doing your own thing, we found a DP who specialized in that. And so she shot it one vertical, one horizontal. We had two cameras set up at the same time, and we would do a reverse. And we are it's a drive-through comedy. There's one that's on Instagram that a lot of people are using as an example called Brooklyn Coffee Shop, something like that. Brooklyn Coffee. Anyway, great series. The two characters are always the same, but they have guests come through as people in the coffee shop, customers from the coffee shop. And it's just quick little episodes. Ours will be about 7 minutes long, but then we'll snip it up for social media because everyone's attention span on social media is so short. But for these series, you can do a 7-minute episode and then do a whole series, just vertical.
Wow.
Series.
That was interesting. When I was taking acting classes, you know, obviously I was the oldest one in the class. So the kids would come to me and go, you know, we're doing a music video. Would you play my father? Would you play my grandfather? Would you, you know, and one of the first ones we shot was at some kid's apartment, and he had his iPhone. And honestly, in my head, I'm thinking, oh, you know, when it came out, when he sent it to me. Yeah. It looked as good as anything I ever had seen on network. I mean, the quality and the way it was shot, and I was just absolutely blown away. Yeah, at what those kids created. Again, the instructor, the teacher of the class said, "Look, there's no reason waiting around to be discovered." We just talked about that.
It's frustrating.
You got a whole world out there that can look at your content, create stuff, create your own.
And it's interesting, the people who, get behind it. Professionals. I mean, you would not believe the cast list that we're getting. It's incredible. I can't wait to share it. But these people that are just like, I'm just so proud of you guys for not waiting around and just doing something. I want to be a part of that. Hey, I want to help. Now, listen, I called the Tennessee Film Commission. I don't know if you've ever known them. They're great over there, but they just raised their minimum. So the reason we came out here was because there was so much independent film happening out here in Nashville. Well, up till July, the minimum for filmmaking to get a tax break was $200,000. You could get a great tax break in the state of Tennessee. Well, so I call my buddy at the film commission and she's like, oh, sorry, as of July, we raised it to $500,000. I'm like, you guys are really cutting out a lot of us independent filmmakers who are just scraping, trying to get investors to invest in our films. They're trying to get these big studios out here. And we've seen, 911, Nashville, and Scarpetta, and all these big TV shows and stuff coming out here. And it's so funny because I just was like, I thought Tennessee didn't want these. I mean, it's great to see, in a sense, you do want more coming out here. But, we're trying to say like, no, we don't want Hollywood. We're not trying to make this the next Hollywood, right? We just I would like to see this be like an independent
let me
film
put on my
hub.
conspiratorial hat.
Let me hear you. Yeah, I want to see what you have to say with that.
Do you think those bigger studios are lobbying for that raise to keep you people out of the game?
Yeah. Oh, that's not a conspiracy theory. That's just what's happening.
Yeah. Oh, okay. All right.
It is. What's funny is, when you go to these streaming services and things, I think they love when I come with my little film and they know that they could probably undercut me more than a big studio thing. It costs a lot less for me to go out and make content than the studios, right? And so they love it. Yeah, although I'm not really sure. I'm like, what do I have that threatens the studios? I'm not sure.
Well, I don't. I'm of the belief it's, you hear that argument all the time about capitalism, as if there's a finite pie, and the fact that Elon Musk has 2/3 of the pie,
right?
Because he has so much,
right.
Which is such nonsense. I think it's just human nature to want to protect what you think is yours,
right?
But if the goal is to get out great stories and you see that in Hollywood. Yeah. With all due respect to Hollywood, they haven't created anything in decades.
No.
Except sequels to...
Especially, you look at Christmas movies and just the lack there and how none of us can get back to...
You don't like Hallmark?
No. Listen, I have so many friends in Hallmark and I love that they're all working. But what's funny is this film that we're creating is going to be winter because we're shooting it into the dead of winter and it's supposed to be one of the nastiest winters. I'm not looking forward to that. But so prayers for our production. But, it's a 90s, set in the 90s, which is really fun, right? Because I'm like, when we did reopening, we took it to the studios and the streaming networks, and they were all like, we don't want to touch anything with COVID. Come back to us when you have something commercial, like a rom-com. Right. So that's exactly why we made this. And everyone's wanting to be like, we want to get to the good old days from the 90s when the film was really good.
We're filming ours in the 90s.
Yeah. And we don't want to get back to that.
And we didn't even know it, but then we found out that they're looking for content from the 90s because that's when everybody kind of got along.
Popular, right? And it was good.
Yeah. Plus you can do Clinton jokes and they've all been done. So
exactly.
You're not going to get a riot in the street for picking on poor
No,
Bill.
not anymore. But yeah, so we're doing it in the 90s and it was and so it's more commercial. So I know, I've done this formula so that I know this is what they're asking for. This is what the streamers are asking for.
How much do you think that raised the budget to do a period?
That's a great question. We are having to get, what's funny is that, the community as a whole is just so supportive. I've got people left and right, like, how can I help? What can I do? Right. So I'm reaching out. And that's where social media is really cool. So, I'll put a post on Facebook or Instagram and say, hey, we're doing this film. I'm looking for a bunch of 90s cars. If you've got like an older car that can just sit on our lot or whatever while we're shooting. And everyone's like, I know one, and tagging people like, oh, what about you? I know you have one. Or like 90s clothes. And listen, the 90s style is coming back. So that's easy. Actually, I went to an Old Navy last night and they were like 90s jeans. Like
Really?
it's a trendy thing now. You know what I mean?
Wow.
So I'm like, I don't see that as being a problem. So it's not like we're making something from the 1800s. That would be a lot more challenging. But, finding the computer equipment, we put that out there and we found some people who were like, I have a basement full of
dial-up
Well, that's
sound.
what it's about. It's about it's about kind of a dating mishap on AOL Instant Messenger. So that'll be really fun to do. But yeah, I don't think there's been a lot of extra cost in that. Yeah. And listen, I mean, a lot of the restaurants, diners, there's a lot of places out here that just look like they're from the 90s or they haven't been renovated since the 90s. So we're good.
Yeah, we estimated about a 5% increase.
Okay. Yeah.
And again, I didn't even think about the cars. I don't know what they're going to do about the cars.
Yeah. Well, there are a lot out there. We've just, again, on Facebook Marketplace, I messaged a bunch of people who were trying to sell their 90s cars, and none of them, they're just sitting there. I said, well, hey, could I rent your car for $100 a day? And they're like, sure. It's just sitting around doing nothing anyway.
Oh, wow.
So people are excited. And I think that's the difference between Nashville and LA when it comes to the industry. I think LA is so saturated. People are burned out and annoyed by the film people. And so they're just charging. I mean, just permitting and all of this stuff is so expensive. Right. And nobody lets you use anything for free. And out here, they're so supportive, especially of independent. I mean, that's the thing. I approach it like, hey, I'm not a big studio. I'm just a little independent filmmaker. Will you help me out? And they're just so supportive. So
we may pick up a couple of actors that were high profile that just they like the project.
Well, and nobody's working right now.
Participate in it, and it's like, holy cow. Because the line was, we can't afford you. They go,
try me.
Sure you can.
But nobody's working. I mean, Atlanta is drying up. LA, I just got off the phone with a buddy who's just in tears. Like, I just can't work. I'm going to get my master's degree now because I don't know what else to do. There's just not enough work out there. And the ones who are getting it are celebrities because even they're having a hard time getting work. There's just not a lot.
Well, it's interesting because I have a friend that opens for sitcoms. He warms up for years, for 30 years. And when I was telling him about the project we're doing, he goes, you do realize the whole industry has changed. This is not going to launch you into like it used to. I go, that isn't what it's about. To me, it's about telling a good story. And I also want to be able to sit with my grandchildren and go, it's loosely based on your Mimi and your Papa. This is what we went through. This was, my son just came back out of rehab, and he showed me his trauma book.
Wow.
And he said, I'm going to trust you with this. I don't think Mom would understand. And I read it, and I put it back. I said, I can't disagree with anything. I was gone 228 days a year, 225 days a year. I mean, the abandonment that he talked about and all that other stuff, So I said, I wrote the book for you guys. But it's so funny. He goes, I started the book. I couldn't. It was too personal to read about my mom and my dad.
Yeah.
So I just want to tell good stories. And I think hopefully, one of the things Angel Studios is doing with that guild is they're putting it into the hands of the storytellers. You got a story to tell, send it to us. We'll put it out. And if it's a good story, our guild will tell us. Yeah. And then we'll find the money and get it made because they just want to produce good stories.
They do.
Where I don't know, it was funny. I think it was Born Identity. Mm-hmm. I'm watching it about halfway into it, and I realized that Hollywood got so far removed from what makes us human that they can't create good characters anymore. There wasn't any character in that movie that I either cared about or I hated. I mean, you used to have villains were very defined. Yeah. So you hated them, but you loved to hate them. They were great villains. And then you had the protagonist, the guy you loved, you wanted to see come out on top. Yeah. And they always came out on top. Right. And again, when they started this whole thing where the bad guy won because it was different. Right. I go, okay, that was interesting, but it doesn't sustain an industry. No. Because it doesn't connect with our humanity.
Yeah. And I think that there's been too much going on in the world that has just brought such tragedy that we all need stories of hope and redemption. And so I think that's where I think believers, especially who are in the industry, if we can create meaningful content that's not just cheesy Christian content, if we can figure out how to pull on the heartstrings of people of all kinds and walks of life, I think that's where we'll really excel for the kingdom, is because
I also believe that traditionally the Christian industry film was about the gospel message.
Yeah.
In the end, somebody terrible
Yeah.
gave his life and was redeemed by Christ.
Right.
Which is an amazing story, but
Yeah.
there's 1,000 ways to tell it.
Absolutely.
Some of the best music out there are love songs to Christ that you wouldn't know
Yeah.
unless you knew the artist.
Right.
They're just a love song.
Yeah.
And it feeds your soul in a way that's edifying.
Yeah.
And I think that's where the storytelling needs to go, is just,
Yeah. And we should be the best storytellers.
we should be.
We should be the best storytellers.
We're
And we
connected
should
to the
be
fallenness. We're connected to the brokenness.
And we should be able to
also.
use our gifts for excellence and be the most excellent at what we do. And so I think we have to call ourselves to that and really raise the standard.
Well, if you look at the artwork from the Renaissance,
I know.
that was all
Yeah.
painted
Religious
for God,
artwork. Yep.
and it was beautiful. The music
Yeah.
that came out of it. There was a series I listened to on from Denton Bible called Road to Darkness.
Yeah.
And it took us from the Enlightenment to the 2000,
Yeah.
maybe. Took us through history. And when we hit the 50s, and he started playing music from
Yeah.
orchestras from the 50s, it was this screeching,
Yeah.
because they took order out of it.
Wow.
And there is an order there should be an order to life.
Yeah.
I mean, if there is a creator, then there's order.
Well, and I think what has shifted a lot is our technology. It's like the technology is a blessing, and in a lot of ways, we got away from the true heart of storytelling because of it. We were just watching Home Alone the other night, and and watching in all of our research for our '90s movie, it was like while you were sleeping, and all of these things. You've Got Mail, and it really struck us in the moment was because John Williams is just maybe my favorite composer of all time, and we just have gotten away from this real scoring of film, and we've replaced it with tracks and AI now and all these things. And so I think that the more we've cut corners because of technology, that's affected the quality of what we've put out too. So it's interesting. Yeah.
Well, how do you keep a sense of yourself in this? I think Nashville's living here for a quarter century now. This is the longest I've ever lived in one place.
Okay.
I left Chicago at 24, so I lived there for 24 years. So now I'm here at 27.
Yeah.
There's a centering, and maybe because of the Christian culture, and that's what I say. Church is a culture here. It is discussed. It's openly discussed. Usually it's within the first 3 questions someone who meets you will ask, where do you go to church?
Yeah, right.
Yeah. My cousin, who I love dearly, he had his issues, but he started going to church. He was living with us for a while. And I said, I didn't know you were a church guy. He goes, well, when I go to the bars to talk to girls, where do you work? Where do you go to church? I didn't have an answer for the church thing.
Check.
Yeah, so check. But
that
I
can
think
be
that
cultural here, the church thing. It was an interesting shift. I think that church in Nashville is very cultural and can be. And I think that just because you go to church doesn't make you a Christian or living out, your walk, your faith walk. And so that's an interesting.
Not at all. One of my favorite singers is Ben
Balance.
Fuller, and he just did a song about that. Trying to fool God by wearing a Sunday best and showing up one day a week, and
or on holidays.
Yeah. And but I think my father, who was an atheist, he would tell you he was an atheist, but he was raised in a Christian home, lived his life with that foundation.
Yeah.
That moral foundation, do unto others, and because he had a sense of fairness and rightness, and he just didn't attach it to the way he was raised. But I think culturally we've gotten 2 generations away from that foundation.
Yeah.
So to come here and realize that the vast majority of people who were raised in Tennessee were raised with that. They may have turned their back on it. They may have walked away from it.
Sure.
But inside of them is that those basic rules.
Right.
And there is a kindness here. People hold doors open for you. Tammy, the first time we got to the grocery store, she comes home. Somebody tried to steal my groceries today. And I go, I don't believe that. No. She goes, Jeff, I'm coming out. She had 2 bags. Yeah. And some man just walked over and said, here, let me grab them.
Yeah. He was trying to help her.
Yeah, trying to help her. And I said to her, my beautiful wife from Ohio, I said, I think he was just trying to help. She goes,
that's
why?
Coming from LA
why
too.
would anyone
that's
do
the
that?
question. Why? What do you want? And for us, it's what do you want? Coming from LA, it's, hey, how are you? What do you want? It's, you want something from me, clearly. If you're talking to me, you want something from me, or like, hey, can we, and the other thing was the commitments. It was like, when somebody says, let's get together and have coffee in LA, you go, okay, great, that'd be great. And then it never happens. Nobody ever follows up. It never gets on the calendar. And out here, they go, hey, let's have coffee. You say, okay, yeah, that'd be great. And they say, let's get your calendar out just Thursday at, at 4 work or whatever. They put it on the calendar, and they're just more intentional is what I've noticed too, which I love. Yeah,
I like to look at his kindness. When I was in Philadelphia once, I remember some guy was paying for his McDonald's with $100 bill and held everybody up for about a minute. And that minute is like,
jitters.
I mean, you could feel the tension. And that's when I realized I was the only one that wasn't bothered by the fact that I had to wait a minute while this guy got his change. And I'm listening to all the grumbling behind me, the grumbling from it's like, boy, And I called Tammy. I got on the phone after I got my food. I said, I think we've lived in the South too long, because there was a time where that would have bothered me.
Right. Yeah. Sure.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, my gosh. We're running out of time.
So much to talk about.
I think we covered a lot of this. Oh, here's a good question. What part of your life now would you have absolutely stunned the younger version of you?
Oh, that's a great question. I think the part of me, I say with producing, when you want to do your own film, you have to become a producer. And it's something I'm really good at, but something that it's not my joy. It's not what I love. But I think that what I would have been surprised about is that I kind of turned my type A, follow the rules and do your work well at school discipline into being a great producer. And I think that that's something that would have really surprised me. I just wanted to act. I've always wanted to. That's what gives me the most joy, is being in front of the camera. But then the directing and the producing on the other side has given me a joy I didn't expect.
So what do you prefer? Obviously.
I know everyone always asks me this question, and it's so hard to answer.
Theater or film?
Oh, theater, film. Gosh, I think that they fill 2 different really special places
styles
in my heart. Yeah.
The 2 different styles. I learned that in acting class because we had a bunch of theater people come in and we're training you for camera.
Right. Well, and I'll say, I think that the TV and film industry has shifted. I saw right at the end of where we were in LA, casting directors when I was a kid used to say, oh no, you're a theater kid. You're not going to be able to do well on camera. You're going to be too big. And they were very against the theater world. And towards the end of my LA career, I saw them shift, and they want to come to shows and they want to see you in theater. And they started really appreciating those who had a background in training in theater. And it was an interesting shift when we came back from New York. And that was appreciated. But I think that, there is just this joy of being on stage that you can't get when you're behind the camera. It's there's nothing like live theater.
Well, I know that from stand-up.
Yeah.
When I did the movie, it was the only one I've ever done. This was my impression of acting. All right, Jeff, she's going to walk in and say, hey. I go, hey. And I say, no, turn that way and say, hey. Okay. Hey. We'll turn that way and go, hey. Now I'm going to turn the cameras around. Now you react.
Right.
and say, hey, and move your head, whatever. And I'll go sit down
over
for 6
and over
hours.
and over. Yeah. Hurry up and wait. Hurry up and wait.
But the immediate response of doing
Yes.
stand-up is
Exactly.
like, there's nothing like it.
Right.
The
That
audience
immediate
determines
response.
whether or not you're succeeding or not.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. And there's a pressure there too, which is really great. And the process of like learning your lines, and you better have an improv ready if you flub a line, because there's nobody coming to save you when you can just cut on set,
Well, that was my favorite year.
Yeah.
Isn't that the great movie?
Yeah.
And he goes, I'm not an actor. I'm
Oh my gosh.
I'm a movie star.
I'm a movie star.
And my favorite line when he was hanging off the balcony.
Yeah.
On that rope, and one of those snobs with the brandy leans over and goes, oh, there's so-and-so beneath us. He goes, of course he's beneath us. He's an actor.
He's an actor.
It's a great,
It's great.
line.
But you know what? We had so much fun in New York and doing live theater. But what we discovered was that lifestyle of just constantly. I mean, my auditions in New York were crazy. I remember getting ready and curling my hair at a Starbucks on 42nd Street. Trying to. I mean, gosh, that hustle is so hard, and theater is just a different world when it comes to making a living. It is very few. I mean, I think that making a living in either industry, TV, film, theater, it's all hard. But the way that we can create our own TV and film right now, there's just this pocket of time that I think we can really excel in and actually make a living doing what we love. And that's what I'm running after right now, because I'm passionate about this. I really want to do it. And I've found this way that we can do it ourselves. And so it's hard to do that with theater. And I don't have a theater. It's harder to go, start a production from scratch and invite your audience. And it's just a different thing. It's a different beast. So I think we shifted, like I said, in 2020, and my heart is still, I would love to do theater, but I would do it again because I'm passionate about it and I would have the time to do a production.
Is it possible to create something theatrically that you could break down and put up nightly, like at a comedy club? Like a comedy club could bring it in on a Sunday or even on a weekend and just run it.
A show?
Like a comedy show. But
I think that's where improv really excels. I think that's the easiest thing. I think we were talking about doing improv in different styles, before or after a theater company's doing a production of Dracula or Emma or whatever. You do something in the style of that. And it's something that you can put up really quick. But yeah, I think that's probably the easiest way to do that.
Okay, well, where can people find you? First of all, if you weren't doing this, what would you be doing, you think? But you've done it since you were 7.
I really wanted to be an Olympic ice skater or a trainer at SeaWorld, but that's become ethnically a no-no, so I don't think that would work nowadays.
That was an old joke of mine.
Yeah.
Said, my son asked me if I had dolphin meat in my tuna.
Yeah.
And I said, I don't know. I wasn't there when they packed it. I go, what is that? And he goes, well, the dolphins are protected.
Yeah.
And it hit me. I go, you know why? I said, if you can get a tuna to jump through a hoop at SeaWorld for $55 a ticket, I think you got some competition.
So those were my dreams.
Yeah, that was it.
I wanted to be a Shamu trainer, or I wanted to be an Olympic ice skater. So that was.
How far did you go with the ice skating?
I took some private lessons all the way through middle school. I got all the way to 8th or 9th grade, and then I got too busy with the show business.
Yeah. When's the last time you skated?
We were in Central Park about 2 weeks ago
at
the Woolman rink, and my daughter was very impressed that I could do a really fast spin. So Still.
Of course, you're young enough to where if you fell, you wouldn't crack your hip.
I don't know. Yeah. I'm not sure.
You don't want to find out.
I don't want to find out.
Kelsey Cooke, this was great. Where do we find you?
Yes. Instagram, I'm on there. Kelsey Cooke Official. This is Hard to Read Productions is my production company.
Slow down on that.
Yeah, it's really hard to read.
This is hard to read.
This is hard to read.
Productions company.
Yes.
And you have on Blaze, because I think we talked to Chris
Reopening
about this.
is on Blaze. Streaming. Back to Bridgewood, I directed this comedy that is streaming on Amazon. And look out for us in 2026. The film is called Connection Pending. So that'll
Connection pending.
Yes.
Very cool. And you guys do live here in Nashville.
Yeah, we do
Or in
improv.
Franklin,
Yeah.
at the Improv at the Factory.
Actually, now we just got a residency at the Franklin Theater for our second Tuesday of every month in 2026. We'll be there every second Tuesday.
Oh, I got to bring my granddaughter.
Yeah, at the Franklin Theater.
She's I think she might be interested in that.
Yeah, it'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah, she's a little ham. So
Yeah.
we love that. And we love you guys. And thank you for tuning in and watching this thing. Kelsey, thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
Subscribe, hit the button. It's up there somewhere. If you like us, that's nice. If you don't like us, at least share loudly. I guess that drives the algorithms. People who hate drive them just as much as people who love. So we try to get you to love us, but we understand that you're human and we're human, and but we're all in this together, folks. So thank you for coming out. Share this with your friends. It helps get it out. And remember, if cold plunging is something you want to consider, Nordic Wave is the one after all my research, I came up with. That was the one I chose. We reached out. They gave me an affiliate program. So Jeff 150, is that it? Save $150 on your cold plunge. It has really changed my mornings because I do it in the morning and the energy. I only need 1 can of caffeine instead of 4. So it's probably saving my heart. So anyway, God bless you guys, and thank you, and we'll see you next time.